I'm a little bit too sensitive. I'm a squishy leftist. I could never yell at a man that old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chuck Grassley, didn't he have all those tweets? He seemingly still controls his Twitter account at age 128. I mean, where are we at right now on the ticker for that dude? Like, he's still in office. He was tweeting out birds on his lawn or something like that. Very old grandpa stuff.
It's mainly about the History Channel not showing history, which is something I entirely agree with.
Well, that's where we can have bipartisanship. No more ancient aliens on the History Channel. Yes. Wait, we've had this debate before.
Don't step on Brandon's toes with that.
You can still have your ancient aliens, just maybe not on a channel called History. That's
on History 2. You can
yes,
have that.
yes.
Okay,
but with all that said, here is Chuck Grassley getting yelled at by constituents. We played the part yesterday where one of his constituents was saying, "Can you please raise taxes on the rich?" But this is even more interesting. This is in Iowa. Speaking
at a DSA meeting. It's just his constituents.
Yeah. We don't know if they were Soros funded. I mean, jury's still out on that front, but this is about the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case and broadly the deportations of these folks without due process.
I just want to know, for you as a senator, as my elected senator, is there anything you can do so that we can follow international law better, or just the ideals of our country to be a place of hope for others, where they can come when they are searching for a home because they have no place else to go.
Take down the Statue of Liberty.
Everything that we can do legally under our laws, we can. We welcome refugees. That's legal status. We read that.
Do you? I just love the crowd. Like every time he says something in this, just burbling up like you respect refugees? What are you talking about? The whole thing is demonizing them.
Senator Grassley, we're not right now.
Until it's quiet so I can hear you.
So, Senator Grassley, right now we're not. I mean, right now we're not. These changes have been taking place, and that's what concerns me so much. It hurts. Yeah.
Okay.
So with law.
I would welcome refugees, and I would welcome people that need asylum.
You're going to bring that guy back from El Salvador? Yeah. Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
The Supreme Court said to bring him back.
Judges are.
Yeah.
And the president is upholding the Constitution. He's defined the Constitution. You're on the Judiciary Committee.
Trump don't care.
If I get an order to pay a ticket for $1,200 and I just say no, does that stand up? Because he's got an order from the Supreme Court and he's just said no.
So just failing to take it off the screen, the guy said there, if the court orders me to pay $1,200, can I just say no? The Supreme Court told them to bring him back. That is a very salient point that the Democrats should jump on.
Yes. And
you got to pay court fines. Donald Trump doesn't have to.
And the feebleness here, it cuts to Trump's entire brand proposition, as Michael would say, that he can make world leaders do what he wants. And now all of a sudden, we can't get El Salvador to do nothing because they're a sovereign nation. We respect sovereignty. Everyone listen to this, to everyone showing up at Iowa town halls knows this stuff.
It's the fascist playbook where the enemy is both weak and strong, but we are also both strong and then entirely powerless. It's the contradiction that that kind of black and white thinking can't sustain.
And also in this case, it seems like one of those online nerd arguments that J.D. Vance would make. Like it's one of those checkmate lib arguments where well, are you saying that we can violate the agency of a foreign country? I thought that was bad. And it's like everyone outside of that childish online one-upsmanship dynamic understands how the situation works. Later in this clip, maybe right now, like someone else makes another really good point about a way that we might get these people back that I think I highlighted on my stream, but sorry for interrupting.
First, I just want to say, even if it's true that Bukele is intransigent, let's say he's, I don't know, maybe he's done a deal with gangs, for instance, and those gangs wanted to kill that guy. Even if he can't get that guy back, then there should be no further relationship with El Salvador at all. And yet Marco Rubio is still touting the partnership as a great one for security, and they're planning to expand the carceral capacity. It's very heartening to see everyone, from, again, people listening to this to people in this room, understand that the smoke is being blown up their ass right now.
You ignored my letter.
Guatemala for El Salvador is an independent country. The president,
Speak up, please. We can't hear you.
The president of that country is not subject to our U.S. Supreme Court.
Yeah, that person calls it out. They said if Trump wants to bring him back, Trump would bring him back.
Yep.
Yep.
These guys know, especially with Bukele. Come on, Bukele. If Trump said to jump, Bukele would ask how high. That dude idolizes Trump.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a well-shaved lapdog. Go ahead, Brandon.
No, someone in the clip, all of the rabbling, I couldn't hear if it was said now or it comes up later, but someone also points out that aren't we paying El Salvador to hold these people? Like, we're paying them like a fee, right? Like for not necessarily this specific guy, but the other 300 people, like $6 million. Like, could we not just simply claw that money back and stop paying them until they give this person back? Like,
Donald Trump knows how to stiff contractors. That's one of his core, talents.
And that was also confirmed by Senator Van Hollen, who said he spoke to the vice president of El Salvador, and they confirmed that he's being detained there because the Trump administration basically has ordered it, which flies in the face of the same arguments that they're making to the courts here in the United States, which is that it's outside of our jurisdiction. It's in El Salvador, right? So the walls are closing in on this complete lie. But here we go.
For El Salvador is an independent country. The president.
Speak up, please. We can't hear you.
The president of that country.
Sorry to pause it, but just wait till he says this. The president of that country is his own man or whatever, and listen to the woman go, ugh.
Yeah.
Speak up, please. We can't hear you.
The president of that country is not subject to our U.S. Supreme Court.
I don't think so. We're paying them to keep them down there. We don't have to pay them.
Why are we paying them the houses if we don't have control?
The next subject here.
Excuse me, Senator. Senator, excuse me, on that same subject. Hey, excuse me, Senator Grassley. On that same subject, the Constitution, the framers of the Constitution said that every person, not citizen, every person within the jurisdiction of the United States has due process. And we would like to know what you, as the people, the Congress, who are supposed to rein in this dictator, what are you going to do about it? These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process. Our government cannot do anything. Why won't you do your job, Senator?
Yes, why? Obeying the Supreme Court. Trump's not obeying the Supreme Court. He just ignores them.
Yeah, screw it.
He's doing whatever he wants. I'd be okay with that. Rolling around, allowing it to happen.
Let Senator answer.
What is a constitutional crisis? What does that consist of? A constitutional crisis exists when
This guy's wearing a MAGA hat.
you have
No. It says something else. It doesn't say MAGA on it. It says make lying impeachable or something again. It's like
it's a tough thing with parody in that hat. Is from a distance. Yeah. You need about 4K in order to make sure the satire comes through.
I know
been the
we'd love
Drumpf hat.
I know we'd love for that to happen, but we got to admit that if you're wearing a MAGA hat, you're still. There are literally people who are saying, I just lost my MAGA people who are saying, I just lost my job because of Trump's federal government cuts. I voted for this. And you know what? I'm happy I lost my job. I needed to be cut. I mean, we got to come to terms with the fact that these people don't cared about.
You're right. I was
anything.
getting swept up in it.
I just want to say, just real quick, there are people who who are okay with their kids dying because of anti-vax stuff, or their significant others being deported because they believe in Mr. Trump. It's sick.
It's a cult.
Right. But that's also just like a sliver of people who voted for him, though. I think that's part of the thing that needs to be unpacked because like the Republican Party and his supporters and, JD Vance will come on and try to remind you, he has a mandate. He has a mandate. Voters voted for him and this is what they want. But like the people who are most ardent supporters of Trump are like a sliver of that voting base. A decent portion of people voted for Trump because they thought prices were going to go down. A lot of them voted for Trump because they're like one issue Republicans, like they hate abortion, they hate black people, they're Christian or something like that. And those people are the ones who are going to be silent or like this as Trump starts to like trample over the other things that they care about. Like they try to prop up the MAGA voter because that's the way they want you to think of their voting base as like slavishly devoted but to Trump. But we're seeing all over the place people just like peel off. The only ones who are like still speaking out though are the ones who are either like still with him or vocally against him. But there's like a silent majority probably of them who are just like, I can't believe this.
Well,
absolutely. I've said this on my stream. Like we need to, like, I know the reaction is when someone goes on TV and says, Trump hurt my business or I lost my job or whatever. I think the reaction is to say, oh, you get what you deserve, and to like sort of, get something positive out of that, like, relishing in them feeling pain. But if you're someone who admits that and is no longer a Trump supporter, then 100% welcome aboard to our side. I hope the best for you. Really, those people should not be, forever ruined for voting for Trump and then regretting it and turning against him.
No more than Democrats should be for voting for Cuomo or something like that. Go ahead, Binder.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean, it takes courage.
Who you can't turn away from. We also have to separate them. Like they're not that group. If you voted for this, you love what's going on, even if it's hurting you, then I'm sorry. I will not give you that same provide you with that same empathy. It's just
that's too far gone's people, right? Where we basically that's not folks that we're targeting with our political project. We're targeting people that stayed home because they were maybe just like disaffected by both parties, folks that thought prices were too high and that Kamala Harris wasn't going to change their lives, or people who were disgusted by the genocide in Gaza, as was like a plurality for number one reason with that IMEU poll for people who stayed home. And some of those disaffected Trump voters who were just scared about the economy. Those are the people that are a part of our political project. For folks that are still in the MAGA cult, you are the enemy, right? We have to beat you. We're not going to say that like you're the enemy in the sense that we're going to make your lives worse, but your ideology is actively hurting the rest of us, so we have to defeat your ideology.
But I just want to say, fundamentally, we're fighting the leaders of this stuff, which includes people in the Democratic Party. Axios had a piece about this, and a unnamed House Democrat who spoke anonymously, a centrist, called the deportation issue a soup du jour, arguing Trump is setting a trap for Democrats. Like usual, we're falling for it. Rather than talking about tariff policy or the economy, the thing where his numbers are tanking, we're going to take the bait for one hairdresser, they said. So that's a Democrat. I imagine they probably take Israel lobby money, or it's someone like Gavin Newsom or something like that. What they say, House Democrat. So maybe
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, we'll see.
Swazi or whatever. But like,
But this is the thing: is we need to be able to say that actually we do own this issue, and it isn't like some like Clarissa Liza saying everyone wants to focus on the stock market. No, look at that room. It's people in Iowa going on for 8 minutes about a guy from Maryland deported to El Salvador for the type thing. And I just want to play this thing here. This is Scalia and Ruth Bader Ginsburg basically echoing what that guy said. I had it there, yeah. That even citizens have rights to due process. And this was something we understood.
Even non-citizens?
Non-citizens have right to due process. And this is something that had been understood in a bipartisan fashion and can be excavated for our side now, I think.
First Amendment apply? Do undocumented immigrants have the 5 freedoms?
Scalia.
Oh, I think so. I think anybody who's present in the United States has protections under the United States Constitution. Americans abroad have that protection. Other people abroad do not. They don't have the protections of our Constitution.
When we get to the 14th Amendment, it doesn't speak of citizens. Some constitutions grant rights to citizens, but our Constitution says persons. And the person is every person who is here.
And I just want to say, anybody who thinks in response to that saying, oh, well, it's not a suicide pact, you are a Nazi.
Yeah.
And you want to throw away what actually makes this country great.
It's important to say that we need to reclaim this. I saw that quote from that anonymous House Democrat, and unfortunately, I think that this is a sentiment that is more widely shared than we would like, because
by rich people especially.
I saw Hakeem Jeffries on with Jen Psaki. It was a broadly inoffensive appearance, but you can see, if you're somebody that follows politics like we do, when somebody is trying to get their message across and how they reorient the conversation. And Jeffries kept bringing it back to tariffs and the economy, because what they're hearing internally is that let's not take the bait on everything Donald Trump does. We need to be focusing on the kitchen table issues.
Like we own stock.
And I hear that if that were about building towards like Medicare for all or student debt forgiveness or
an actual industrial policy that wasn't just we love free trade more than the Republicans now.
But that's not what it is, really. It's about, they think that they're being smart by laying in the weeds and not addressing this, where the point is if you're going to play this game about responding to certain things Trump does and not responding to others, at least be smart about it, right? At least play the game well, because you see the polling on this issue and you see people in that room. People are outraged, scandalized. I saw Dave Weigel, who's always on the road, saying that he's overhearing the story in bars in Ohio or different parts of the country. This is not the time to be on our heels, both from a moral perspective and from a political one.
I mean, I'm sure based on what people are seeing, these videos we're seeing of people at town halls agree with me. I think this is the most pressing issue right now, honestly, because of the broader implication. It means way more than anything that centrist Democrat just mentioned. Sure, all those issues affect you in some way, but none of it regards your government abducting you and then trafficking you to another country whenever they want. And we've already seen story after story of people getting to that brink. There was a story the other day, on my stream last night I watched from a local news channel upstate that a guy visited his relatives in Canada, a U.S. citizen. He came back to the U.S. and he was thrown in a room for hours and hours and hours, and he doesn't know what would have happened if they didn't find out that his sister was an immigration attorney. You heard the story of the guy from Australia. You might have heard of this one where he lived in the country legally for work, and they won't let him back in. His whole life is here. His girlfriend is here. All the stuff is here. He lives here, and they won't let him back in. Like, this is it. This is the issue. And if you can't see that, if you can't see a room full of old people, these aren't young activists in that room with Chuck Grassley. This is boomer age people yelling about this and only wanting to talk about this and getting outraged about this. I don't know what you're paying attention to.
Also,
they're paying attention to the stock market. Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, I was going to say, also, I think it's worth mentioning, because this is a fundamental flaw in the way Democratic Party messages and views itself. Like, this is a fundamental erosion of our civil rights as a country, as citizens. And even if people didn't think it was important, it should be your job as politicians to go out there and make people understand that it is important. But they have abandoned consensus making. And largely they have done so to avoid having to justify the fact that they just build consensus for Republican Party stuff. But you have the ability to change people's minds. You have the ability as politicians to command public interest in one way or another and shape opinion. But they want to pretend
but just to add to what you're saying, Brandon, it's because of that popularism thing, right? With the Matt Iglesias stuff where they follow polling, they don't drive it.
Yeah. And, a lot of that is because they agree with the way the polls are going. It benefits them and their donors. So oftentimes they don't feel the need to speak out because it's hard to craft a narrative that squares that circle. But that's why, to your point from earlier, Emma, we're not just fighting the MAGA chuds out there who post crap online. We're fighting the material conditions that have been created by our society that creates those types of people, because those are victims too, in my opinion. Like the people who are so far gone, who have been alienated and disenfranchised and disenchanted and propagandized by our media and our political class to the point where they've been taught to supplant their ego with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Those are victims. Perhaps the greatest victims. Perhaps the greatest victims history has ever known.
The greatest.
Because they see themselves in the success of Donald Trump, someone who is trying to rob them blind every day with crypto scams by taking their Social Security, and they are letting him spit in their face, and they're saying thank you for it. Some of those Republicans have self-respect. They're distancing. They're being quiet. Some have courage even, and they're saying I made a mistake. But there's a growing sliver of our society who have been disenchanted and suffering from deprivation to the point where the only way they can find value socially and hope is by supplanting their ego with Donald Trump. And that's sad. Those are sad people. And, we just want there to be less people who, because not always Donald Trump. Sometimes it's anti-vaxxerism. Sometimes it's RFK. But it's an unhealthy supposition for your own personal sense of self-esteem.
Wow. Yeah. That's
just to go back really quickly to what that centrist Democrat, anonymous, very brave to anonymously bring this up. If your concern is the economy, I guarantee this is going to happen. Come back to me in a few months. We are going to see story after story over the summer about businesses, small and large, who are wrecked, who depend on people, tourism money, people visiting the country, because people are not going to come to the U.S. anymore because they're going to do the cost benefit analysis and decide, go see Mickey Mouse or maybe end up imprisoned in El Salvador for life. Yeah. I think I'll stay home. I'm not going to visit the U.S.
I mean, this has already happened.
Maybe I'll go to Canada.
We have this chart up now from the U.S. International Trade Administration that just shows arrivals dropping off of an absolute cliff. Yep. So the thing is this is a material issue. The people that are saying it's not are lying. What it actually is an issue they secretly agree with. All the people like Gavin Newsom, Hakeem Jeffries, I think I've seen express frustration that we're not talking about the tariffs enough. Those people only have bad things to say about the economy. They'll only want to work with their corporate partners and that sort of thing. So this is a material issue, in addition to one that is just a moral imperative that people are being disappeared off the street. And to call it just one Venezuelan hairdresser, that's a fascist talking. There are fascists in the Democratic Party. To dismiss that guy, oh yeah, just one Venezuelan hairdresser. Never mind that it's dozens and dozens of
it's hundreds.
Of people. Yeah, exactly.
It's 300 people.
I mean, that's fascism talk, given anonymity in Axios.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.